Most people wouldn't believe this if they heard it at work. But the night it all began was just supposed to be a business arrangement. A quick fix, nothing personal, no strings, no feelings. Just a single dad, CEO trying to survive a Christmas. Charity gala without being the lonely widower everyone whispers about. Adam Hale stood in front of his bathroom mirror that evening, straightening a bow tie that felt more like a noose than an accessory. He was successful, respected, the kind of man magazines liked to photograph. Yet he still couldn't stomach walking into that ballroom alone for the third year in a row since his wife passed. His assistant insisted, "Just hire a companion, sir. It's not romance, just presence." And as much as he hated the idea, he agreed more out of exhaustion than hope, thinking maybe, just maybe, having someone next to him would stop the pitying stares for one night. He rehearsed polite conversation, fake smiles, small talk, but what he didn't rehearse was fate itself. Downstairs, soft footsteps padded across polished wood floors, his 6-year-old daughter, Mia, twirling in her socked feet with a stuffed pony under her arm. "Daddy, what if she's pretty? What if she likes me?" she asked with a grin, missing 2 front teeth. Adam chuckled, ruffled her hair, pretending he wasn't insanely nervous. "She's not really coming for us, baby. Just for the event." Mia shrugged like she didn't believe that for a second and continued decorating her dollhouse with ribbons. Then, ding-dong. The doorbell cut through the house, sharp and unexpected, jolting Adam like a splash of cold water. He exhaled hard, walked through the hallway where family photos still held memories like ghosts, and pulled open the front door. But instead of the glamorous woman he'd expected from the agency, there stood Elena Brooks, soft sweater, simple dress, clutching a worn bag to her chest like she wasn't sure she should be there. Her hair was messy in a cute way, cheeks flushed pink from the cold, eyes warm but nervous, like she was holding her breath and trying not to look scared. Adam blinked. "You're from the service?" he asked. "Yes," she replied too fast, voice shaky, like she was praying he wouldn't ask for proof. And before he could, Mia peeked from behind his leg, eyes bright and unfiltered like sunlight. She walked right up to Elena, tilted her head, and asked with the bluntness only kids have, "Are you Daddy's girlfriend?" Adam almost choked. Elena laughed nervously, not offended, not awkward, just real. She knelt down and answered, "I'm just here to help him at a party tonight. But I love your sparkly socks." That was it. Mia's heart was sold instantly. Hook ending for paragraph. Adam didn't know why, but instead of sending her away, he said, "I'll come in." And that single choice changed everything. Elena stepped inside like someone entering, a world she didn't think she was allowed to belong in. The Hale home was warm, filled with soft yellow lamplight, and photos of a woman with kind eyes and a smile that could make snow melt. Elena paused just a moment too long at one picture. Adam noticed, his chest tightening. He cleared his throat and guided her to the living room, trying to maintain professional distance, but Mia was already dragging Elena toward the coffee table, saying, "Come see my drawings." Elena sat, listened, laughed, not politely, not forced, but genuinely, like she cared about every crooked crayon line. Adam watched from the entryway, and something unfamiliar tugged in his heart. Not attraction, warmth, presence, peace. It scared him more than he'd admit. Time was ticking. They should have left 10 minutes ago, but neither moved. Elena glanced up, nervous again, and asked softly, "So, do I need to pretend to be anything I'm not tonight?" Adam hesitated. He was supposed to say yes, she was hired to play a role, but words caught in his throat. "No," he finally said. "Just be kind. Be yourself." Elena smiled, small, grateful, almost relieved. She grabbed her coat, stood, and nearly tripped over her own shoe. Mia giggled so loudly the house seemed to breathe again. It had been years since laughter sounded that pure. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe desperate. Maybe necessary. Adam offered Elena his arm, and she accepted like she wasn't sure she deserved the gesture. As they walked toward the door, Mia tugged Elena's sleeve gently, looking up with hopeful, glassy eyes. And then, the line that would rewrite their entire future. "Daddy, she feels like Mommy did." Adam froze. His world spun, heartbreaking and healing all at once. Elena looked shocked, touched, fighting tears she didn't want to embarrass anyone with. She knelt, brushed Mia's cheek with careful fingers, whispered, "I'll take care of you tonight. I promise." Final hook outro of part 1. Adam swallowed hard, opened the front door to the cold December night, and suddenly the gala didn't matter. What mattered was the way his daughter looked at this woman, like Hope had walked in wearing a borrowed dress. Mia clung to Adam's hand and whispered a question that would echo into every choice ahead. "Daddy, can she stay forever?" The hotel looked like something pulled out of a Christmas movie. Tall glass doors dressed in wreaths, golden lights dripping from every beam, and music floating through the cold night like warm breath. Adam and Elena stepped out of the car together, the wind brushing hair across her face. Adam noticed her shiver, wordlessly draped his suit jacket around her shoulders. She blinked, surprised, biting back a smile like she hadn't been cared for in a long time. Inside, chandeliers glittered overhead, and guests turned almost instantly, curious. Whispers began. "He brought someone." "Is that his new girlfriend?" Adam felt tension crawl up his spine. He had hired a companion, not love. Yet standing beside Elena, something in his chest tugged, protective. Unexpected, quietly dangerous, Elena held onto his arm with gentle nerves. The lightest touch, but enough to anchor him. The gala's host greeted them loudly. "Adam!" And this must be a moment of hesitation, as if expecting a title. Adam paused, but before he could speak, Elena stepped in gracefully. "Just a friend. Happy to be here." It was honest, simple, disarming. People relaxed, conversation flowed, and soon laughter filled their table. Elena talked about her past, volunteering with children, loving books, making soup when broke, little pieces of a life real enough to touch. Adam watched her hands as she spoke. Soft movements, genuine warmth, not a performance, but a woman comfortable being human. It made her unforgettable. During dinner, she leaned closer to whisper, "Is this the part where you smile politely and pretend you're having fun?" Adam almost laughed into his wine. "Pretty much," he murmured, and she smiled like she'd just cracked the world open a little. The room blurred into soft gold around them, music, chatter, clinking glasses, yet Adam felt oddly present for the first time in years. Maybe it was the way Elena listened to people like each word mattered, or how she always glanced at him like checking if he was okay. Somewhere between the speeches and the dessert, Adam forgot she wasn't supposed to matter. He forgot she was temporary. And Elena, cheeks flushed from the warmth, forgot she wasn't supposed to belong. Paragraph ending hook. But the real story didn't happen at the gala. It happened when they got home. It was nearly midnight when they returned. Snowflakes drifted, like feathers under the porch. Light, Mrs. Walsh opened the door, relief flickering in her tired smile. "She's been restless," she whispered, "dreaming of you not coming back." Adam's heart dropped. He rushed upstairs, Elena following quietly behind. Mia sat in her bed, eyes red and wet, clutching a stuffed pony like a life raft. When she saw Adam, she cried harder. Not loud, but broken, like fear itself was leaking out. "Daddy, I thought you left forever." Adam wrapped her up tight, voice cracking. "Never, baby. I'll always come home." But she trembled. Still, memories of her mother, leaving and never returning, lived like shadows under her skin. Adam stroked her hair, helpless, unsure how to reach that wound. Then Elena stepped forward, slow, gentle, asking silently if she could help. Adam nodded. She sat beside Mia, voice soft like warm honey. "Do you know I used to get scared like that too?" Mia sniffled, curious. Elena continued, "My mom worked late nights. Every time she was gone, I imagined monsters or that something bad happened. But she always came back. And even when she didn't get home fast, the love stayed. Love doesn't walk out the door." Mia stared at her, wide-eyed, breathing steadier. Elena hummed a lullaby barely above a whisper, smoothing Mia's hair with slow fingers. Within minutes, the little girl's eyes fluttered closed. She curled against Elena's arm, like her heart finally found safe hands. Adam stood there, stunned. He hadn't seen Mia sleep this peacefully in months. Elena looked up at him from the bedside, one hand resting protectively on Mia's back. She whispered, "She just needs Someone who stays, the sentence pierced. Him deeper than any business deal or success ever had. They walked out quietly, leaving Mia breathing slow and steady beneath soft fairy lights. Downstairs, Adam made tea, not because either needed it, but because sitting with her in silence felt wrong. He placed a mug in front of Elena, fingers brushing hers for half a second too long. She didn't pull away. Her voice trembled slightly. Tonight was different. I came expecting to play a part. Instead, I found a home that doesn't feel like mine, but somehow feels right. Adam swallowed, unsure how to define the warmth tightening around his ribs. He was a man terrified of loving again, yet here he was, wanting to keep a stranger at the table just a little longer. Elena sipped slowly, eyes lowered. If you ever need help with Mia, I could come by. Not as a date, she added quickly, as someone who cares. The next morning, sunlight poured through the Hale kitchen like warm honey, drifting across marble countertops and half-eaten cereal bowls. Elena sat at the table with Mia, both wearing matching bed hair and oversized pajamas. Mia insisted she borrow a pair. Adam stood in the doorway for a moment, unnoticed, watching the scene strangely touched. Elena held a spoon like a microphone while Mia giggled through a dramatic retelling of her dream, something about unicorns, pancakes, and Elena saving her from a giant gummy bear. You were brave, Elena said, tapping her nose. You fought him with kindness. That's real power. Mia glowed. Kids know when someone truly sees them. Adam finally stepped forward, clearing his throat, pretending he hadn't just watched two people fill a house with a joy he'd forgotten existed. You stayed, he said quietly. Elena smiled, shy but warm. She asked me to, and I wanted to. What happened next wasn't planned, not in any adult sense. It started with breakfast. Then Mia's shoes wouldn't tie. Then one cartoon turned into two, and suddenly Elena was helping find gloves, pack lunch, and fix tangled hair like she'd been doing it for years. Adam watched in a soft daze. This woman who walked in by mistake now moved through their home like she belonged. That afternoon, she picked Mia up from school because Adam was stuck in a meeting. The teacher said Mia looked happier than she'd seen her in months. The day after, Elena returned again, and again after that, until her visits weren't visits anymore. They were routine. Pancake mornings, library Saturdays, rainy day pillow forts. Elena taught Mia how to paint sunsets and how to braid her own hair. The house changed. Laughter echoed in corners once silent. Lights stayed on longer, music hummed through hallways. Adam caught himself cooking. Dinner with both of them dancing. Behind him, too, Christmas songs in October. At night sometimes, he stood at Mia's door watching. Elena read bedtime stories with silly voices that made Mia laugh so hard she snorted. He didn't say anything, just let his heart thaw slowly, like winter melting into spring. Paragraph hook ending. But with warmth came fear, because nothing good stays that easy forever. Feelings grow quietly, the way vines take over fences, mighty slow, then all at once. Adam found himself noticing tiny things, how Elena tucked hair behind her ear when she concentrated, how she hummed while stirring soup, how she whispered encouragement into Mia's ear before school. One evening after dinner, Mia fell asleep on the couch, head on Elena's lap. Adam walked in and froze. His daughter's fingers curled around Elena's arm, peaceful in a way that broke him open. Elena looked up, eyes meeting his, and something unspoken passed. Soft, dangerous, tender. Adam grabbed a blanket, draped it over them, and for the first time in years, sat beside someone without feeling alone. Later that night, after Mia was carried upstairs, they shared leftover pie at the kitchen island, legs brushing lightly. Elena laughed at one of his dry jokes and touched his hand just barely, but enough to send a spark through him he hadn't felt since his wife. He didn't pull away. She didn't either. Yet under that sweetness lived a secret. One, Elena kept tucked like a thorn under her ribs. The night she met Adam, she wasn't the hired companion. She had only come to drop off a resume with housekeeping, but due to a mix-up in nerves, she let him believe she was the woman he hired. She told herself she would confess soon. Then later. Then after Mia stopped having nightmares, but days turned into weeks. The lie grew heavier. Every hour she fell deeper. Into this home she never meant to enter. It wasn't about money. She wasn't even taking payment. It was longing, belonging, Love she didn't want to lose. Then it happened, the moment everything shook. At a grocery store, a woman recognized Adam, smiled politely, and asked Elena, "Which agency sent you? I might hire a companion next month." Elena froze, color draining from her face. Adam stiffened beside her, confusion sharpening. "Agency?" he repeated slowly. Elena's throat closed, truth pounding inside her like a drum. She opened her mouth to explain, but words tangled with fear. If she told him, would he think she lied her way into his home? Into his daughter's heart? Into his? She forced a smile, voice unsteady. It's complicated." But Adam's eyes darkened, not angry yet, but deeply unsure. That night, Elena sat in the guest room staring at the ceiling, guilt curling around her like cold air. Down the hall, Adam paced quietly after putting Mia to bed, replaying the woman's question: agency, companion, hire. The story cracked, but the bond remained. Mia had fallen asleep clutching Elena's scarf, whispering her name even in dreams. Adam stood outside Elena's door, hand poised to knock. Then he heard a soft sob from inside. His heart clenched. He wanted to open the door, wrap her in reassurance, tell her he didn't care where she came from, only where she belonged. But he didn't. He turned away instead. The letter shook slightly in Adam's hand, and he read it twice, once as a father, once as a man who just realized he'd let something priceless slip away. "Tell Mia she made me believe in family again," Elena had written in uneven ink. "But this wasn't mine to take. You deserve honesty, not accidents held together by hope." Adam swallowed hard, blinking back a sting he hadn't felt since the hospital years ago, when he'd held his wife's hand for the last time. Mia padded into the kitchen, hair messy, dragging her blanket behind her like a shadow. "Where's Elena?" she asked, voice trembling like a candle in the wind. Adam knelt, pulling her close. "She left us a note," he whispered. Mia's eyes widened, confusion first, then heartbreak collapsing through her like a wave. She sobbed into his shirt. "But she promised to stay for movie night." She pinky promised. And there it was, the exact thing Elena feared. The pain of a child abandoned again. But this time, Adam wasn't paralyzed by grief. He felt fire instead. A clarity, a direction. He wasn't losing her without trying. He spent the next 2 days calling agencies, messaging numbers, checking libraries, art galleries, even the park bench where they once fed ducks together. Rain soaked his coat. His phone died twice. At night, he sat beside Mia until she cried herself to sleep clutching a stuffed bunny Elena bought her. Every room felt colder. The house echoed differently. Laughter replaced by silence too loud to bear. On the third morning, Mrs. Walsh found him staring at the foyer like a soldier, awaiting orders from a ghost. "She didn't leave because she didn't care," the housekeeper said gently. "She left because she cared too much." Adam looked up, eyes raw. "Then I need to tell her she doesn't have to run anymore." On impulse, he grabbed his keys, heart pounding. Mia ran after him, pajamas and all. "Daddy, please," she sniffed. "Find her." "Bring her home." He lifted her into the car. No hesitation. Snow began falling soft and slow, like the night this began. Fate loves full circles. And this story wasn't done yet. Elena stood there frozen, hair in a messy bun, paint on her fingers like evidence of a woman trying to start over, while her heart was still stuck somewhere else. She looked smaller without the house behind her. Like a bird halfway through deciding whether to fly or fall, Mia launched into her arms before words could form. Elena caught her, knees buckling, tears bursting free like a dam breaking. "I missed you," Mia sobbed, tiny arms tight around her neck. "You can't just disappear. You're part of us." Elena buried her face in Mia's shoulder, voice shaking. "I didn't want to leave. I just felt like I stole a place that wasn't mine." Adam stepped closer. "No walls this time." "You didn't steal anything," he said quietly. "You built it. You filled it. You changed us." Elena's breath caught. She finally looked at him. Really looked. "You have every right to be angry. I should have told you the truth the first day. I was never the hired companion. I came for a cleaning job interview, and somehow I let you believe something I wasn't." Adam exhaled slowly. "You came into our life by mistake. But staying, loving my daughter, that wasn't a mistake. That was a blessing I didn't know how to accept. He stepped forward, voice low and honest, the kind that breaks and heals at once. I was scared too. Scared to love someone again. Scared to let Mia love someone who might leave. But maybe love doesn't wait for perfect entrances. Elena wiped her cheeks, hopeful yet afraid. So what do we do now? Adam smiled, a real one, softer than grief, stronger than doubt. We stop running from the good things. Mia tugged at their hands, placing them together with the authority only a child has. Can she come home with us? She whispered, hopeful spark in her eyes. Elena looked at Adam. Permission, promise, possibility. He nodded. Yes, if she's willing. Elena's voice cracked. I am. I've been waiting for you to ask. The three of them stood there in the snowy hallway, not like a CEO and a nanny and a little girl, but like a family learning how to breathe again. Later back home, they cooked dinner together, burned the first batch, laughed through the second, danced during cleanup. Mia fell asleep between them on the couch. Adam brushed a strand of hair from Elena's face. Stay, he murmured. Not as an employee, not as a guest, as someone who belongs. Elena leaned her head on his shoulder, finally at peace. I'm home, she whispered. Outside, snow drifted under porch light, the same way it fell the night she walked in by accident. Only now it felt like destiny.